Welcome to Founders Future, a podcast powered by Closers.io, where we dive into the journeys of innovative entrepreneurs and explore the road ahead for them and their companies. I'm your host, Jay Encarnacion, and in each episode, we uncover the stories behind impactful ventures, the challenges faced along the way, and the strategies driving their future growth. Today, we're excited to have Charles Livings, the founder of TOS Professional Coaching. Charles brings a powerful mix of experience as a dedicated advocate for veterans and a leadership expert who's built TOS PC into a hub for resilient leadership training since 2021. Based in Alabama, he's helped organizations boost productivity and retention through programs like the Resilience Building Leadership Professional Certifications. He's here to share how he's empowering leaders and teams and his vision for scaling this mission-driven business. So let's dive right in. Charles, welcome to Founders Future.
Thank you, Jay. I'm honored, and what a privilege to be with you and your listeners today. I'm more than honored to be able to be here and share what little bit I've been able to garner in my trips around the sun here in
I
this.
love it. I absolutely honor to have you on. So let's start at the very top for our listeners, Charles. Take us back to the beginning. What specific problem in the leadership development or career transition landscape really inspired you to start TOS Professional Coaching in 2021?
Thank you for asking that question. That's a wonderful question. I'm a communication scholar by training, and so I've been in marketing and sales and then teaching in various community colleges and regional universities over the years, mostly public speaking, but a couple different communication classes. And then about 20 years ago, a little over that, I started working very closely with veterans transitioning, coming back from Desert Shield, Desert Storm. They didn't have jobs. And so helping them translate their story, their skill sets from the military into gainful civilian careers. If you need a job, hey, get in the car. We'll go down to McDonald's. I can get you a job this afternoon. You'll report first thing tomorrow. But that wasn't what they were looking for. So tip of the spear really became, because they had been the tip of the spear for the nation, that we wanted to share with them and help. Fast forward 20 years, over 6,000 veterans that we helped, or I helped through other organizations, and was ready to take it to another level and help more. And so with that, the rationale is not just for our veterans, but for all of us, as Greeny and his team talk about in crucial conversations, we are all at the point of engagement, whether it be with that family member, whether it be with an external client or an external audience, or hey, we talk more often to our internal customers, brothers to sisters, aunts and uncles, shipping department, the bookkeeping department, all of the different elements within our organizations. They have to interact with each other and play nice, not throw sand, share the toys, share the credit, share the
Yeah.
blame. And so we are all at the tip of the spear of our own Livings LLC here, if you want to say it that way, in terms of our professional career path and that journey that we're going to carve out and go learn, develop our own toolkit, honing those tools, sharpening that edge so that we are prepared to be on point when it comes to whatever that particular need is, that particular exigency. It might be a business problem. It might be a social problem that one of our team members is having that's interfering with their work capacity. We talk about work-life balance these days. I think that's a bad phrase because there is no balancing. It was explained to me once upon a time. I worked for an old Special Forces general, and he said, Charlie, everybody's juggling, and it's a series of balls. The trick is, son, remembering which ones are the glass balls and which ones are the rubber ones, because the rubber ones can bounce around a little while and they'll be fine. But the glass balls you got to take care of every time they come by. That's what we're doing in terms of tip of the spear. Are we on point at that point of engagement? Are we bringing our A game, regardless of whether we're in the break room, just having a coffee and developing rapport with a fellow teammate? Regardless of what division they're in, if they're on the red team or the green team, it doesn't matter. They're still a teammate. They still wear the team kit. And to use that football analogy, it doesn't matter if they're on the kicking team or the punting team.
Yeah.
they're still ours, right? And so that's where tip of the spear comes from, and helping everybody unleash their leadership and then ultimately elevate their career as well as those around them, because we all get lifted on that rising tide, don't we?
Absolutely. I love it. I love it. So walk us through here, Charlie, of how Tip of the Spear's offer has evolved thus far. So from what you're providing for your clients and who you're serving, how has that changed since you guys first started?
Absolutely. First, we started just helping people write resumes. Then we were helping them with interviewing skills. Interviewing skills and resumes are directly tied to networking. Porter Gale said it best in 2013. Your
Hmm.
network is your net worth. And so having people that have been down that trail before, and this is classic military after action review, what worked for you in your transition, what worked for your career. This is what we're asking from mentors. Hey, what mistakes did you make that I can avoid? That you're
Right.
willing to share with me, that you're willing to own, be humble and transparent, and model trust that I'm not going to undermine you with that information. We started out there, and then it grew into, okay, we have all these veterans that have resiliency training, but there's not any civilian recognition of that. Most civilians don't understand it. When I started digging into resiliency building leadership, and of course, the resiliency building program and the certification process, good leadership understands that whether they've been in the military or not. They're operating on it, but having those constructs at the tip of your tongue, operating on them daily and keeping them in the forefront of your mind, these are the things that allow you to advance your career, to be prepared for the next event. When we talk about resiliency, we're talking about basically that definition where we're prepared to deal with adversity and the
Hmm.
team's ability to recover from adversity. Most of the literature out there these days focuses on individual resiliency. But what about organizations? And most organizations face adversity every day to one degree or another. Somebody might be late to work for very good reasons. They had a flat tire, they were involved in an auto accident that wasn't their fault. What is the team going to do in that situation? Obviously, first make sure that they're safe. Now make sure the team that's working out there that they're being safe, not trying to overcompensate and endangering people or equipment, right? So these particular concepts are translatable across cultures, not just military cultures. And there's a real value in that across the spectrum. So we're trying to bring that to every organization that's wanting to improve their team resiliency. And that gets translated into things like productivity,
Hmm.
retention, organizational knowledge, right? Because if you lose certain characters on your team right now, that organizational knowledge, that organizational history, that experiential learning that they have just went out the door. And now what are you going to do? Because you don't have anybody prepared to stand in the gap. Now, someone is going to, there's going to be a learning curve for them. And are you prepared for that? Do you have a SOP in place that they can figure out how to do X, Y, and Z, those sorts of things. So it was a natural progression from working with veterans to now we're working with everybody that wants to have resilient teams, that wants to improve their productivity, that wants to improve just the quality of life in their workplace. And that's become a big issue for most folks. They want to have a solid quality of life in there, not just work to the bone the whole time, and then go home at night and know that they've done a good job and can take pride in that. And tomorrow they get to come in and discover something new to fix. And that's what it's all about. And of course, that leads to greater innovation because now they feel comfortable to bring solutions to the team,
Right.
and everybody has perspective on that.
Incredible. So, with that being said, I know our listeners definitely want to hear more about this because, again, some of our listeners could end up coming and working with you, Charlie, with all the amazing things that you're
Would
bringing
love
to
to do
the table
that.
here. So, let's get into the nuts and bolts, right?
Sure.
Talk about how Tip of the Spear is really generating revenue today. If our listeners come to you, what is the core offer and how is it structured for clients when they come to you?
The core offer is to help those frontline supervisors and initial junior managers as they move out of technical proficiencies into those leadership roles. What we see is that most organizations go back down there and they have people that are technically proficient across a multiple number of stations, implements, pieces of equipment, or whatever. And because they are there and they have the most technical knowledge or tactical knowledge across the environment, then okay, we're going to promote them. But we don't give them a toolkit for managing people. All right. And I guess I got to diverge there. Managing people is one thing, but it's not the same as managing processes. And really, what we're talking about is not managing people, but leading people. You manage processes, you lead people.
Yeah.
And if you've got a young person that doesn't have a very strong repertoire, they don't have enough tools in their toolkit. So where are they getting that? Theoretically, they're getting it from a mentor, they're getting it from parenting. You think about, have you ever woke up you're in there doing something in your house and you wake up in a moment because you were on autopilot and you realize I'm acting just like my dad did. I'm doing this just like Papa did. I did this just like mom does.
Yeah.
I Why? Because of modeling. It's so primitive for us. So what we're doing is trying to intersect where the greatest need is, trying to help those early leaders learn that repertoire to understand what you're doing at a senior level and these founders are trying to get done so that now we're helping them have that toolkit. So just like you give a child a beginning toolkit with a hammer and screwdriver and nail, if you only give them a hammer, what are they going to do? They're going to hammer everything.
Hammer,
So you
right?
got to have a regular headed screwdriver. You got to have a Phillips head screwdriver. They need some crescent wrenches. They need an adjustable wrench, and so on, so that they have the different tools to be able to lead people. And so we have a codified system that we can bring to those junior leaders for your team and get them going, helping them with how all of this is evolving in the organization based on the team climate, based on team cohesion, and based on team learning. And those are the three key pillars. Off of that, then we get into, providing team purpose. Then we get into team learning, and then we get into organizational learning and retention. Yeah.
Beautiful. So that coaching aspect is really what you're bringing to the table here
Yes.
for these businesses. So talk to us a bit about what's working best on the acquisition side to get those new clients in for you. Is referrals, word of mouth, ads, different channels? What's working best right now?
Yeah, it is mostly referrals through word of mouth, and then our LinkedIn. We're reaching out to various managers and then business leaders that in the area. And of course, if we're not physically in your location, although we can do it virtually, we do most of it virtually just for people's convenience so that we can do it. But we can do lunch and learns, whatever the company wants to try to do. We're glad to do that for them. And or we can refer them to somebody that's local there that can actually come physically to their shop, and more than happy to do that as well.
Incredible. I absolutely love that. So nothing around ads or anything of that nature yet. Really just word of mouth is working best.
No, it's mostly word of mouth because it's really about trust. You're entrusting your team to us and to the concepts that we're bringing to the table. And of course, that becomes a major factor for everybody, isn't it? Because that's really how we make decisions, isn't it? Based on emotional elements like trust. That's why I thought that the credentialing was so important, that we are the only professional credential out there. And here recently, we were acknowledged by the American Council of Education so that now they can even get college credits for the course at select colleges and universities and around the country. So we're real proud of that and very happy to do that.
I absolutely love that. So give us a bit more insight here, Charlie, on what the sales process looks like as far as the team. So initial contact with the client to getting them onto working with you guys and the team. Are you running the show on your own here? Do you have a team, a sales team? How does that look as far as the outside looking in?
Yeah, it's just me. And what we do is we point them to our website. There is a link there, and they go directly either to a discovery discussion that we talk about the scope and what's going on there. And then also there is a direct link there inside of the website that sends them to the RBLP, and they pay for the exam and the exam prep training at the same time. and then RBLP and I work that out. And so we try to make it as seamless and painless as possible to do that.
Beautiful, beautiful. So with that in mind, being that you're running the show on your own, I can imagine that there's a lot going on there, a lot of moving pieces. So is there a certain bottleneck, Charlie, that you can point to for growth right now, whether that be lead generation or converting those leads into clients or delivering on the fulfillment side, just doing things on your own? What can you point to on that front for us?
That's a great question. For me right now, it's just lead generation and having the time or making the time. That's not it. You make time to do what you want to do. I get I get so involved with my clients and enjoying working with them, and we really just start peeling the onion and helping each other along those lines. And of course, they're referring us to other people and their
Yeah.
friends, those sorts of things. So for us, it's just sitting down regularly doing lead generation, and we do that mostly through invitations on LinkedIn to young managers that are wanting to prepare for the next level and to get those certifications as part of their career development plan.
I absolutely love that. And it's clear as day the passion that you're bringing, what the
Thank
knowledge
you.
that you have in the space, and truly appreciate having you on because it's clear as day that this is a necessity and you got to continue to get your name out there. So super happy that you were able to come on the show and really continue to talk about what you're doing and
Oh
how you're
yeah.
impacting
Well,
this space.
and I appreciate that. The other key factor is that regardless of, and there are a lot of companies that have internal leadership programs and that sort of stuff, and that's
Mhm.
wonderful. But when you leave XYZ shoe company and now you're going over to ABC textile, it doesn't follow you. And you invariably run into that ain't the way we do it around here. We've been at this bit. Now we're bringing tried and true cultural concepts about leadership that are going to translate organization by organization. It's going to translate regardless of the climate that you have there, regardless of the team. And so you can start nibbling away and creating a much better environment, not only for your work, not only for your team, but it's going to be better for you because they know you're caring about them and you're taking care of them and preparing them for the next level as well. So a lot of trust going on there.
I love it. So talk to us a bit here, Charlie, about the mentality for you right now. What's your vision and your laser focus for growing and scaling tip of the spear over the next year? What are you really locked in on? Are there any specific revenue goals or anything specific that you're aiming for?
Really, right now, revenue goals, I wish I could be that concrete about
Yeah.
it. I would tell you for me, it has always been about relationships. And with that in mind, I have to go back to many decades to old Zig Ziglar. Some of you may remember him, that
Yes,
sort of stuff. And
absolutely.
his mantra, if you help enough other people get what they want, then you're going to eventually get what you want. So it's always been for me since long ago in an old Boy Scout troop. You take care of your people, they take care of you. So I
Mhm.
try to take care of the people around me. And if they're in my network, they're family, more or less. And so we just keep trying to love on each other, as one old basketball coach used to tell me. Sometimes it's tough love, but we just love on each other and everybody seems to rise out of it. So for me, it's about relationships. I want to partner with you and your company about helping you and your team, helping you in your career, in your journey. If we want to go fast, we go alone. If we want to go far, we go together. And so that's what it's all about.
Love it. I love it. So let's get a little hypothetical here, Charlie.
Sure.
Let's say we snap our fingers and you now have unlimited resources today. What is something that you'd be implementing immediately into tip of the spear to really propel its growth?
For me right now, I'm really looking at AI
Mhm.
and some of the capability of being able to respond to people immediately in some fashion or another. I think the data is pretty clear that the younger generations, they're they want to move at this pace all the time. There's not enough of me to go around. So the best way for me to do that is to clone it and to put it into some type of AI. With that in mind, I've been joining some masterminds and some competitive intelligence, oh shoot, cohorts, if you
Yep,
will. And my goodness, I've run into some people that just they're talking about stuff up here with this stuff. It's just mind blowing what it's doing now.
it's incredible.
And so I'm just fascinated by that. I'm fascinated about, of course, Zig Ziglar again is the model. He invented the Roland University with the tape recorder in the car. And now with all these wonderful little devices, we've got our little podcasts and we can be little sponges even while we sleep. In fact, I was listening to somebody talking about doing that the other night. So I'm fascinated by competitive intelligence, which puts me out front, not for my braggadocio, although I'll throw my arm out trying to pat myself on the back,
Yeah.
but to help more people. I can reach more people. I can give them what they need when they need it. And then we can defer more detailed and drill down beyond that. So I'm very excited about that. I think that's the next echelon. But ultimately, at some point, it's got to come back to Jay and Charlie have got to have a conversation. AI is wonderful, but it is no substitute. In the same way, virtual has allowed us to go meet with all these people rather than you having to travel to Alabama or me having to travel wherever. We can facilitate a whole lot more learning that way, and that's the name of the game: is passing that knowledge on, helping folks create the life and the lifestyle that they want to have.
I love it. So with that, I could not agree more. AI is absolutely the future, and integrating it into business is so pivotal in this day and age. I speak to so many founders every day that are really utilizing and integrating it, and it is just such a
Right.
game changer for them. And going right into my next point, I want to go into the lightning round here for our listeners before we wrap up. So just a quick question around that, Charlie, for you is, what's a tool or a resource that you're using right now that is a game changer for tip of the spear?
For me right now, I'm using ChatGPT and Gemini.
Yep.
It is helping me do research and crafting outlines of what I want to do, where I want to take some different ideas and go beyond. So for me, it's become a research tool in a lot of ways. It's been limited because of the access that it's had in the past, but I've been satisfied with it so far. But I'm not asking it really esoteric things so that it has to hallucinate about stuff. I'm asking for key components and key pillars of best practices and that sort of thing. By aligning myself with some of these really smart people in those areas, I'm learning some really powerful ways to leverage that to be able to bring those lessons that I've learned to others. And so I'm gearing up on that side. I think within about 12 months, I'll have some really cool stuff out there that will be interactive and very responsive to the particular dynamics that individual person is dealing with, and can then have their own little angel on their shoulder, if not an actual coach going on helping them with stuff to get them to a certain point. And then I'm glad to jump in and we'll go to another level with it.
Love it. I love that. And then just to wrap us up here, Charlie, the time flew. It's been incredible having you on. Truly do appreciate your time here today. What you can wrap us up with is just a piece of advice for our listeners right now, other founders, entrepreneurs in this space who are building a business or in the middle of a business like you are. What's something you can offer them before we wrap up?
We are all in transition, and transition is a team sport. I said it a little bit earlier. If you want to go fast, go by yourself. If you want to go far, build a team around you. And I would love to help with that just from an informational point of view, because I'm going to learn from you. You're going to learn from me, and we're both going to find value in that. And then at the point that we need to pivot and go in different directions, we can do that as well. Really a privilege and an honor to be with you and your listeners today, Jay, and love to come back anytime and set up a symposium and we bounce ideas off each other and just learn from each other
I
continually.
absolutely would thoroughly enjoy that. And it truly has been a pleasure. With that, that is going to wrap up another inspiring episode of Founders Future. Charlie, just want to thank you again. A remarkable journey so far, and everything that you've done for so many is truly impactful. And again, so grateful to have you on the show today, really talking through what you're doing. And I know many of our listeners are extremely grateful for the space that you're in and what you're doing. And we'll be reaching out. And to our listeners, if you enjoyed this episode, which again, I know many of you have, don't forget to subscribe to Founders Future wherever you listen to your favorite podcasts. You can also find more resources and insights at closers.io, where we're dedicated to helping businesses accelerate their growth through trained appointment setters and world-class marketing systems. Until then, keep climbing, and we'll see you on the next one.